finally know what we're doing, you guys. We are technologically advanced. Welcome to the first co-live between zachriddlegolf, that is myself, Shaheen Monjezi, the number one mindset YouTuber on the internet today. Okay. If you don't follow him, you should. We are yet to have any people in the live yet, but that's not to say that people won't join. I got my boy RIP Kobe in the background.
Damn, I got a Kobe too. How did you get Zoom?
You just pinch.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh damn.
You can flip it too. You can flip the camera.
There's my Kobe right there.
RIP to the GOAT. All right, Shaheen. So let's get into it. Maybe some people will join as we continue to talk. Shaheen and I have just been working on our YouTube channels a lot here recently.
Yes, sir.
And we just wanted to use this as an opportunity to grow both of our channels, see if we can give some people some advice. The name of the video, as well as the caption and the thumbnail, is how to motivate yourself. So I guess I'll start out just a couple things that I think help with motivation. First of all, the word motivation, as David Goggins says, is a bunch of BS. You need to find things you're obsessed with. Okay, so obsession is something that can, help you find motivation in a way. Let's say that's a real word. Let's say that's something that actually is true. If you're obsessed with becoming great at whatever your craft is, then you'll actually be motivated to take action and do so. But if it's something you're not really, truly, truly, truly passionate about, then the motivation will always be lacking. I feel like, right? It's like if you're obsessed with being successful or obsessed with getting your name on on the news or getting signed by a music label, right? If
That's what I was going to ask you.
A singular obsession, I think, can lead you towards even things you might not think you would want or could accomplish along the way of going towards that one goal. We did just have 4 people drop in here. Appreciate everyone. I think you can see the people that are on your side of the live, and then I can see the people that are on my side. So the 5 people, appreciate every single person that's in here. Go ahead and like the live. If you have any questions for Shaheen and I, just drop them in the comments. We will happily answer them. But yeah, Shaheen, why don't you kind of bounce off some of those points I was just talking about with motivation right there.
So the thing that came to mind was that you said you got to be obsessed with something in order to be great at something. So like, why would anyone, this is the question I want to kind of ponder here. Why would someone do something that they're not obsessed with?
See, that is interesting, because they might try to do something for what's the right word, just false
The wrong reasons.
Yeah, the wrong reasons, right?
Yeah.
Doing the right things for the wrong reasons, right? If you're trying to be successful or trying to make a lot of money, but it's only because you want to have nice cars, watches, house, whatever, then maybe you're not taking actually the right steps towards getting that, because it's not even something you're actually like really, really, really want. You know what I mean? It's like you think you want it, but then once you get your hands a little dirty, you realize, hey, maybe this isn't for me, right? And that's where I think, I lean back on the Gary V advice. Shout out to Gary Vaynerchuk, one of the best, greatest entrepreneurs on planet Earth. If you've never looked him up, look him up, watch his videos. We did get our first comment. It is Russian, so can't read it. But shout out to him.
Russia
Uh,
Mafia.
we are bumped up to 22 in the live
Let's
stream
go.
over here.
Keep it
But
going.
we got to keep it going. We got to keep it going.
Yeah.
Um, but something with Gary, he talks about, especially when you're younger, right, is you got to try as many things as possible, right? If you think you want to be a skater, okay, and then you go to the skate park and you realize, no, I like my ankles too much, right?
Yeah.
Um, you just move on to the next thing, right? Or you become obsessed with being a great skater. It's either one or the other, right? It's either a
Yeah.
yes or no. You're not going to choose something and then just kind of want it, but not really like you can, and then you're kind of just stuck in that weird kind of space where
You,
it's
you know
like,
what it is?
tell me.
It's obsession is you're willing to do it every day as much as any opportunity that you can do it, you're gonna do it. You do it every day and you do it when no one's even watching.
Yeah.
That's true obsession. And like true obsession is you keep on doing something for the purpose of self discovery. That's kind of
Yeah.
the revelation that
For
I had. You keep
yourself.
on going deeper to learn more about yourself through performing in action.
Yeah, there's not these like physical things in the world that people give value to that are the motivation behind the work that you're putting in. It's a
Hmm.
truly self motivating,
Hmm.
everything involved is coming from, everything you're trying to gain is a better version of yourself in some sort of way,
Yes.
essentially. Did
Investing
get
in yourself.
some, yeah, exactly. I'm wearing it. Invest in yourself. Shout out Maine. Anyone in Maine in the live? Let me know. I went there. It's a beautiful state. Shaheen went there as well.
I performed
Um,
there.
yeah, performed there. We did get some emoji comments. Shout out to Alex Cruz.
Alex Cruz.
Yeah,
Thanks for
appreciate
sharing
the
some
thank you
emojis.
for the emojis. Leave us a question. Leave us a question
Yeah.
if you got one. We're gonna be trying to do maybe some of these lives pretty often, you guys. So we would love for it to be interactive. Um, we got 21 people in here right now. If we get 5 people to answer, ask a question, he just left another emoji. Shout out to Alex Cruz for the
Alex
emoji.
Cruz with the
uh,
emojis.
yeah. But tell me, Shaheen, as being a musical artist, what are
Yes.
some of the things harder, that you originally start getting into making music as a younger person, but then when you're trying to kind of make money off of it, what are
Mm.
some of the challenging things you've seen from releasing music, recording it, performing live? What are some of the things maybe you didn't see a part of the full process of being a musician from earlier
Yeah,
on?
that's a great question.
Thank you.
Uh, so yeah, like music is one of those things where you're always constantly battling. Like the one thing that you always hear when you tell people like, "Oh, I make music," is like they're always like, "Oh, are you making any money from doing that?" It's like
Mm,
one of those things. Like,
mm,
and it's always kind of growing up. I always heard from like parents or like just peers, like, "Oh yeah, like the music industry is like super hard to like break in." So it's like these like negative sort of limiting beliefs about music, the music industry, making money in the music industry. And it I'll admit, like for myself, like I let that those beliefs and those sort of all those voices from the outside kind of stop me from making music
mm,
for long periods of time because I'm just like, well, what's the point of doing this if I'm not going to be able to like finance,
mm,
myself doing this. So like that's for me kind of the perpetual struggle that I've always faced with like making music because, starting out in the music industry, it is hard and like I'm still not in a place where like I'm making full-time income from
Mm,
music. Like the only
mm,
income I really ever made from music is from playing gigs at like bars and stuff like that, and that's not sustainable. So of course, like that's the mindset struggle. Is like, all right, like yeah, I'm not making money from this right now, but like, how much do I actually love doing this? Am I willing to do this even if I'm not getting paid? Am I
mm,
willing to show up and still, like, how much do I love this? How much am I obsessed by this? And that it's just going back to what we were talking about before, where it's like obsession. If you want to be great obsessed, if you want to be great at something, you have to have obsession towards it.
mm,
So if I'm chasing music and trying to make music so that I can be, accepted by the world and
mm,
accepted by, I don't know, get millions of streams on Spotify and all those things. Those that would be nice. But if that's the reason that I'm doing this, then I think that's the wrong reason, and I'm just gonna get washed out by everyone else who wants that.
mm,
So I think for me, like my journey has been like, nah, you make the music because you want to express yourself. Again, you show up every day because every song that you make is self-discovery. It's expression. It's leaving something behind, or recording a song, uploading it. You're sharing you. So
mm. It's
that's
art.
what it's more about. It's more about that intrinsic process. And like, yeah, I think the money thing, you got to have faith that at the end of the day, if you do really love something and you do really become obsessed by something, like you will be great at it. You're going to go to places that no one else has gone before.
Mm,
And yeah, the reason you do it is because you love doing it, you're passionate about it, and that's your craft. That's your journey to self-discovery, is through whatever you choose. And for me,
mm.
music.
See, I think that that's an interesting point you brought up there, and also again, shout out to Alex Cruz. He did leave some words of advice for us here. He said, "Forget those old beliefs and make new ones."
Yes,
So,
Alex.
yes, I agree wholeheartedly. Sometimes, especially if you're getting advice from people from different generations, right? There's a different level of risk,
Mhm.
um, adversity that everyone has throughout life, and usually the older you get, the less risk you want to take. The younger you are, the more risk you want to take. So if you're
Mhm.
getting advice from someone that's not really the same age or your peer, they might be giving you advice from a certain perspective that isn't the same where you are. But
Mhm.
to speak about the music, you know, when you have those true intentions, your true greatness is shown to you in different ways, right? Golf, for me, obviously, I wanted to be the best player I could be, right?
Mhm.
If that's playing on the PGA Tour, I gladly would have done that, right? Would have
Yeah.
done it in a heartbeat, okay? But the game of golf showed me I'm not supposed to be doing that. But here
Yeah.
I am now, falling back in love into the game, being
Mhm.
able to play it because of this content,
Mhm.
YouTube,
Mhm.
and the game of golf showed me another path for me to continue my love for the game, right?
Mhm.
Uh, it was never the original. I never started playing competitively uh, to become a golf YouTuber, right? I mean, nowadays that does happen, right? Some of these kids are trying to get a lot better just so they could create a channel. They want to create content, whatever it is, which is great. That
Mhm.
just wasn't me at the time because it wasn't even really a thing yet.
Right.
Whereas it could be applied to the music thing too is,
Mhm.
you know, obviously, like you said, it would be great to millions of streams, shows, boo, 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 boo,
Yeah.
whatever it is, right?
Mhm.
But maybe it's not in the books for you to do that. There's some other path
Mhm.
of success within music that you're going to be led to through just trying to be great and still
Yeah.
enjoying the process of making music. I
Mhm.
enjoy the process of
Mhm.
getting better at golf.
Mhm.
You enjoy the process of making great music. We just
Mhm.
released one album. How can we make the next album greater? I
Yeah.
just played a great round. How can I play greater the next round?
Mhm.
Right? How can I consistently be great? You
Mhm.
know? So no, I think it's interesting, these passions in life that, people have.
Mhm.
If you're willing to evolve, you know, your true stardom can be shown um, through something you weren't originally trying to do in the first place.
Exactly. Yeah. You never know what new opportunities are going to arise that allow you, that give you like an avenue for you to, express yourself, or like maybe you can end up making a living off of what you do love. But like we said again, like that's not the reason why you're doing it. It's all self exploration. So you're choosing something that you can commit to, that allows you to commit to exploration, self discovery, expression, and ultimately just improvement and becoming a better person. And like that's like something that you always hear from like people who like have a lot of money. They always say like it's like never about the money. It's just always about the person that you're becoming and upgrading your skills and becoming more valuable. So yeah, that's sort of the revelation that I've been having for
No.
my music career and making music, and probably the same thing that you're having for your golf channel as well. Like
Yeah,
just keep
golf,
like
art.
keep showing up, dude. Like that's
Yeah.
like literally the main lesson that I've been learning is like just keep showing up. Like even if no one's watching right now, and even if you do have like all it takes like one person showing up. We got Alex Cruz here, man, showing up and showing some love. And all it takes is one. So it's like, you know, then you just you keep on building momentum off that, and just keep showing up, keep showing up, keep showing up, and you just do it for like I said, that self exploration.
Yeah, man, because it's like a lot of people, when they listen to that limiting advice,
Yeah.
either they stop or they start to believe, right? And then that
Mhm.
belief grows, and then eventually they do stop, right? So
Mm.
it's hard not to fall into those traps of self doubt, and
Yeah.
some of those self doubt traps are almost incentivized by other people. It's like, oh no, you shouldn't, you can't. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Funny story about t-shirts, right? I'm in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm out selling my 50-50-50 tour t-shirts, okay?
Hmm.
Outside of the Braves game, Atlanta Braves,
Hmm.
and people are walking out of the stadium. I'm talking to as many people as possible. Um, this one guy, Vulcan Phoenix, says, "What are you guys talking about?" Hey, we're talking about basically whatever we want to talk about. Life advice, mindset, how to be successful in life, how to motivate yourself. We're just two content creators, basically trying to grow our YouTube channels while also, harnessing our skills to be able to do a talking live stream. Okay, you guys, we're using the power of the work that we've both put in into our channels to leverage each other.
Yeah.
Okay, because of our network,
Hmm.
which is these two people right here, myself and Shaheen.
Hmm.
But back to the story in Atlanta. People are coming out of the stadium. I'm selling shirts or attempting to sell shirts, correct, right? And this one guy telling the story, and he's just like kind of like stuck on it. He's like 50, he's stuck on the price. He's like $50. You can't sell a shirt for 50. He's just telling me, "Oh, you can't do this. It's not sustainable. Oh, the price is too high, blah 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 blah." Right?
Hmm.
He's just, in a nice way. He's just basically telling me, "You can't do this. You're not going to succeed. Whatever, whatever, whatever." And then as I'm still kind of listening to him, he's first of all, he's a little intoxicated. So I think that's why he had the confidence to basically tell me that I don't know what I'm doing and that I'm not, great at it, right? And I
Right.
will say this is my third state at the time. So I wasn't that great at it, or at
Yeah.
least it's not
The
as
self
great as
confidence was
as I
kind of
am now. But
not
I still
high.
had the self-confidence to tell him I am capable of it because I already was. I had already done it. I'd already sold 100 shirts, over
Yeah.
100 shirts.
Yeah. So you have
Um,
the proof.
yeah, and as he's still kind of next to me, and I see these other people, I'm like, well, obviously he's not buying a shirt, so I'm basically done talking to him. I see these other people, I start talking to them, give them the 30-second, 1 minute pitch, sell one right in front of his face, right? And then he goes, okay, actually, actually,
No way.
you're pretty, you can do this, and so, but
Uh-huh.
he just needed that visual
You
proof.
changed his belief right there.
No, it was insane, bro. Like, I literally changed. He was almost like, what just happened? The fact that
Right.
I did it, sold it, got the money, gave the shirt away. People were on their way. He
Damn.
watched the whole thing in the span of 2 minutes, right? And
Yeah.
this is as basically he had just told me it wasn't possible to sell a shirt for $50.
Mhm.
Boom, sell one right in front of his face.
I
One of the
mean,
most
the best way to
satisfying
make
sales
people
I've ever
believe is
had,
to show them.
bro.
That's
Don't
the
talk
best
about
way.
it,
You
be
can
about
talk
it.
about it, or you could just show them.
Don't talk about it, be about it. You know what
Don't
I
talk
mean?
about it, be about it.
Because, yeah, I mean, I could have the conversation with him all night about
Mhm.
how I can do it, but guess what? All
Mhm.
I needed to do was talk to someone else and show him the proof in the pudding.
Yeah.
Okay, but it's just a funny story about how you could literally have someone doubting you in your face,
Hmm.
and then you have to physically do the thing they're saying you can't do for them
Right.
to actually realize you can't do it.
Yeah.
It's crazy,
Gotta show them.
right? Because you can have all these people in your life that maybe have great intentions for you, right?
Hmm.
But they don't have the same amount of self-belief you have. They don't have the confidence you have. They don't have the wherewithal. They don't have the level of risk you're willing to take and bet on yourself, because
Hmm.
they don't have it within themselves. They've
Exactly.
already given up.
Right.
They've already become complacent.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
They're
So,
projecting their beliefs
upon you,
upon you.
it's crazy.
Yeah.
So, just one cool story I learned a little, lesson on right there.
Yeah, that's a great lesson. That's a great lesson.
Tell me, give me a story on the what was even the name of y'all's tour when you did? Was
The
there a
Genghis
name
Beer
for it?
tour.
Yeah, was that the name of it?
It was the name of the tour was the Do What Feels Good tour.
Do What Feels Good tour. We got
Yeah.
to
So
do a Do What Feels Great tour next.
the next album. Yeah. So the whole premise of that tour was
The release of that
we're
song.
going to drive from LA to New York City. That was the only gig we had booked, was one gig in New York City.
Yeah.
So we're gonna drive from LA to New York City, and we're gonna finance our travel expenses by booking shows on the fly on the way to our gig in New York City.
Uh,
And then after New York City, we're gonna go down to Nashville, Tennessee, and then drive back to LA. So the whole idea is we're gonna finance all the travels through on
your
the
art.
fly gigs.
Yeah.
So obviously, like, the one person that I remember the most who was like the biggest hater was my uncle. My uncle on my dad's side. This guy was just like, when I told him the idea, he's just like, "Are you gonna make money from this? Like, why are you wasting your time? Like, go get a job. Like, this is pointless." Like, and it was just like straight up just hate from the beginning, and just like, I'm not gonna lie, like, it shook me just a little bit, where I didn't like believe in what he was saying, but it was just like a minor grievance. Like, it was annoying. I was just like, "Bro,
Yeah.
I'm gonna show your ass, dude." Like,
Yeah.
it's just
Well,
like,
that's the thing. You kind of need some of those
yeah,
people, right?
right,
Like,
yeah,
back to that, me selling that shirt. It's like having that guy do that
hmm,
made that one sale right after in front of him that
hmm,
much sweeter, right?
right. It
You
lights the
know,
fire.
no, and it's advice I like to tell people all the time. You can't win. A win doesn't taste as sweet if you've never tasted a loss, right?
Mm,
You can't have one without the other. I can't sell 50 t-shirts for $50 each without hearing the word no. I
right.
can't hear the word yes without the word no. The word yes doesn't feel as great without people telling me the word no.
I remember there was something you told me on the tour, and you said, in order for me to get 50 yeses to sell 50 shirts, I usually have to get 2,000 no's.
I make up that number. I don't know if it's
Yeah,
actually 2,000 no's, but
yeah.
I use that as
That's
an
like your
example.
mindset, though.
Yeah, because the if let's just say we're sticking to sales, right?
Right.
If the goal is, let's say, to get 100 yeses, you go door to door, you're selling paintings, you're selling, you know, Coke,
Whatever. Vacuum cleaners,
whatever. You're
whatever.
selling footballs, okay?
Yeah.
To get someone to say yes, you're like, if you're trying to get 100 yeses and it takes you, like, if you figured out for every 1,000 no's, there's 100 yeses in that 1,000, right?
Yeah.
So the goal, technically, obviously, is to get 100 yeses.
Yep.
But in order to get those yeses, which is ironic that I'm using that word, that you have to hear the word no, right? So the game of yeses is actually a game of no's. That's
No.
something I've learned. If you get 1,000 no's, you've actually gotten 100 yeses within that,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
Basically, you get 900 no's, you get 100 yeses, right?
Mhm.
But it's just, you may go 500 no's in a row
Right.
and then get a yes finally, and then another 100 no's in a row, and then get 40 yeses in a row, whatever it
Yeah.
may be.
So
But
this all goes back to, you have to be obsessed with the process. So in that case of getting 100 yeses, you have to become obsessed with the process of getting 1,000 no's.
yes, because it's in return getting you the yeses.
Yeah.
You can't have one without the other. That's a big life advice thing in general,
Hmm.
is opposites. Can't
It's like,
win without losing. You can't, like, when it comes to content, right? I've had videos that have done millions of views.
hmm,
You can't have that without also having videos that have done 0,
right.
without having videos that have done 10 views, right?
Yeah.
If your goal is to get 100 views on a video, right? Post 100 videos. I guarantee you one of them does 100, right?
Right. Yeah.
But if you only post 5 videos and they all do 20 views, well,
Mm,
now you've limited yourself to 20, you just, it's that trying. It's that
mm,
constant, like, all right, well, if this doesn't work, let me try it this way. Let me tweak this. You
yeah.
know, oh, this did work a little bit. How do I add on top of that?
Hmm.
Right. And that's
Yep.
where I think, my advice towards you guys has always been trying new things. And I think why the tour was successful in the fact that you guys learned a lot, grew a lot, gained a bigger audience in different places outside of California is because you put yourself into this um new environment for you to create music, create sales for mute through your music, basically by booking shows.
Hmm.
Um Not just in your local area,
Yeah.
but it gives you more perspective for when you go back into your local area to
Hmm.
then use those things to do the same thing in your local space.
Hmm.
And then the album 24, right?
Yeah.
It's like that, to me, was awesome just to um, view, right?
Yeah. Because it
As a
was
view.
your idea. You
But
birthed that idea.
even if it wasn't, like, and you guys came up with that, I would be just as excited because it's like, that's different.
Yeah.
Like, who
It's
else is
different.
doing, it forced you guys to be in a different environment,
Mhm.
in which you had never created music in such an environment like that before.
Yeah.
Um, And that's something in general, like with creators, content creators, um, musicians, artists in general. If you're trying to create different art, create different environments in which you create that art. If you're used to sitting down at a specific desk and drawing, or you're
Yeah.
used to, specifically recording in one studio, right? Figure out ways how to change that, which will
Mhm.
in turn change the art you create. Because I think I talked to Kevin recently. I was telling him basically this same thing. It's like the environment you create anything in will impact what is created. So if you're trying to do things you've never done, put yourself in places you've never been.
Mhm. Yeah, that's 100% true. You have to explore the unknown, and especially like creativity. If you're doing something as a creator, as an artist, as a content creator, like especially at the beginning, you have to be open to experimentation because you're not gonna know what your thing is. Like I said,
Mm.
like in the experimentation is all just self discovery again. So you're just approaching yourself at different angles every time that you experiment, go into the unknown, and try something new.
And tell me
And
this, when is the beginning? Define that, right?
yeah,
Who defines what the beginning is? Is it your first 5 years of being a creator? 10 years? Right? Because
mm,
if you do it for 50 years,
hmm,
what is the beginning?
yeah,
Right? Because 10 years to 50,
hmm.
that's the beginning. That's 20%. That's 80% you've still never done.
Well, the
If
other
you're in a
question is like,
race,
what is the end?
exactly.
There is no end.
Exactly. So
There
what
is
is
no.
the beginning, right?
Yeah, yeah,
You
exactly.
always have to be experimenting and trying different things,
Hmm.
regardless of at what stage you're in,
Hmm.
right?
And from like a meta philosophical perspective, it's like, what's this life about? It's about self discovery. It's
A
about
100%.
learning about yourself. It's about being kinder to yourself. It's about yeah, expressing yourself in as many ways as you possibly can during your time on this planet, and then ultimately serving other people through self discovery
Mm,
and
mm.
your different take on things. You're not supposed to have the same take as everyone else. You're supposed to have a different take than everyone
Unique.
else.
It's got to
A
be
unique
unique
take, yeah.
to you.
That's why you're here. So it's about going into the deep, going into the unknown, and finding that unique take that no one else has, and then
Mm,
sharing that with other people to advance humanity, the arts,
mm,
business, whatever. Being a
mm.
thought leader. The only way you can be a thought leader is through going into the unknown and experimenting and self discovery. So,
The only way to be a thought leader is to have thoughts and express them, you know,
mhm, mhm,
and be okay with people, um, like you said about your uncle. It's like, it's not nice to have necessarily people doubt you or quote unquote be a hater,
mhm,
right? But in turn, it can help you, right? It can help motivate you.
mhm,
Um, Shout out to David with the comment. He just said, there is no original thought.
mhm.
Probably true. Everyone's already thought of everything.
Yeah.
Uh, they just haven't done it, right?
Mm,
Here's a I've been back on the doodle grind. What do you think about this? Dig digits digitally. What do you think about that saying? Right? Because we're trying to get these digits, right? We're trying to get these numbers up. We're digging. We're
shout out to
digging.
David
What's
again.
the what?
Great
Yeah,
point.
great point. Oh wait, so you can see the comments as well?
Yeah, yeah, I can see everything on my side.
Oh, okay. See, the last time we did this, shout out to my guy, Coach HP. I think it was just he could see everyone in his live, and I could only see everyone in my live. Because Do you see the same amount of people in it as well?
I see 14 people in it right now.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I'm
I
seeing.
guess it's the complete same. But what is going to be cool about this live stream as well is we'll be able to remix it and create
Mm,
shorts to post. Um, so I'll just make a short right here. If you're a golfer and you want to be great, here's 3 things you should do on a daily basis to become that great golfer. Number one, self-talk. Okay, you need to have motivating, reaffirming self-talk. If you're talking down on yourself, you're not going to be the greatest player you can be. You need to be talking up. Okay, I can shoot under par. Okay, I can make
mm,
5 birdies in a round, whatever it is, right? Number
mm,
two, you got to put the work in. Okay, the physical work you put in changes your mental state in general, right? It reaffirms your confidence up here. If you know you've put the work in, if you know you've done everything, if there's doubt in which have I put enough work, it creeps up here, right?
mm.
Number three, stay positive. Stay positive 100%. There's going to be days where you suck, you play bad, right? There's going to be days where you sell 0 t-shirts. That's me.
Mhm.
There's going to be days where you don't make any birdies and you don't shoot under par. Okay. But as long as you stay positive, you will be successful. All right. David says, I think it's interesting that every generation goes back 50 to 100 years for its thought leaders. Einstein, Nietzsche, Tesla. In 100 years, who will they discuss? That is very interesting, David.
That's a good point.
Thank you for that. It's a great point. Thank you for that comment, David. Appreciate it. Um, I don't know, man. It is interesting to see who people look up to now, right, in our current generation, live to today, and who will actually last, who people will actually look back upon,
Yeah.
because it could not match up. Someone who we think is that interesting thought leader is that person that has kind of taken that step above, right?
Yeah.
They may be seen as it now, but will they 50 to 100 years later?
Yeah. I mean, the person that comes to mind is someone like Elon Musk. Obviously, that's
I
probably
was thinking Elon, but I think it's more his work,
his work.
right?
Yeah. What he
Not
does.
necessarily his words
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
stick.
Because everyone can have, like, going back to David's first comment, he said, "No one, there is no original thought." And like, yeah, it's true, but like, who's gonna execute and who's gonna be like, I'm willing to take action and do it, and like
Mm,
make a process out of taking action and doing it and commit
mm. And
to
failing.
see it become real. That's like where true change happens. We're living in a physical world, so it's like you got to take action in order to make that thought become real. And yeah, that's powerful revelation for anyone who's just in their head all the time, like thinking. I'm definitely one of those people. So, it's
Action,
more about finding
action,
that process, going back to it, finding that process and committing
yeah.
to it.
Action creates reaction, right? If you're
Hmm.
trying to get a reaction from someone,
Hmm.
you got to take action, right? You
Hmm.
can't just hope there's going to be a reaction
Hmm.
based off of nothing,
Hmm.
because nothing creates nothing.
Hmm. Just in the act of doing something, like that's where you learn. And like going back to like the philosophical meta view, it's like this life is about learning. This life is about, yeah. This life's we're all students of life, and the best way to learn something is by taking action and doing something.
Mm.
What do we have here? No GMO.
This also, it's a quote from Ty Dolla Sign, Kanye song. This life is what you make it. You know,
Yeah.
you two would make a great. All right, shout out to No GMO for the comedy relief here. Um, no, no GMO, no guys making out. Um, that is us, so that fits your profile name. No GMO. No GMO on this channel. We can guarantee that, okay? Um,
Go to our
First of all, we're
OnlyFans for
in
that
different
content.
states. Second of all, no. No, but Shaheen's in California right now. For anyone wondering, we got our first like. Let's
Let's go. Let's
go. We
go.
got one like on the channel on the live. Why don't you go ahead and read David's next comment there for me, Shaheen?
David says, we are in a strange spot as this generation is more online, and we are actively seeing physical skills disappearing due to 3D printing, etc. There aren't really innovators outside of online development.
Two likes, liked and subscribed. Shout out
And
David.
our
Please
boy
make sure
David
you like
subscribed.
and subscribe my boy Shaheen Monjezi over here.
Yes.
That was an interesting comment there, David. I will have to say I slightly disagree with you on one point, right? He says there are no physical skills, and some of them are actively disappearing due to 3D printing, etc. Well, guess what? I've gone to the Chattanooga Public Library. They got 3D printers up there, right? Someone will teach you how to use it, but just like any technical skill or computer skill, right? There are people that are better at it than others. There are people that are great at making 3D printed products, innovations, um, small trinkets, whatever it is, right? You can make a shoe out of 3D print. Like there are people that have innovated um, industries
Mhm.
through 3D printing, and that's just one example, right? But then there's also people who just want to make, you know, a cup holder. They just want to make a pen holder, right? Uh, so there are these levels. It's entry level at the moment, but once AI kicks in properly, it will require no skill. See, that's where I still disagree because AI, you know, still is at the point where just like every other technology, just like there's people who are wizards on Microsoft Excel, right? And then there's dummies like me. I don't want to learn Microsoft Excel, but there's literally a championship where people compete against each other to solve Microsoft Excel problems. Okay? That's the level it's gone to.
Mhm.
It's a program on a computer that deals with spreadsheets and like, you know what I mean? Like there's only you would think that there would have been a limit on how deeply someone would want to know about something like that. But
Mhm.
guess what? We've literally turned it into a sport, right? So AI is obviously leveled up from that. There's so many things that AI encompasses, right?
Mhm.
But just like any tool, if you give one man a paintbrush and another man, one of them's going to be better at using it. You give
Mhm.
one man a guitar. You give me and Shaheen a guitar.
Mhm.
You will instantly know who is better at using it. It's Shaheen. Okay. Right. So I think AI is basically just like that. There's going to be people that are greater at using it than others.
Mhm.
I think the entry level to people learning it might be easier than a lot of other tools
Mhm.
because it's so user friendly. It's so um
Yeah.
easy,
Intuitive.
quote unquote. Yes. Uh, but I don't think it's you know, going to just, skill like physical skills. I actually think it could innovate the way we learn
Mhm.
physical skills. There could be some sort of integration in which it helps. us learn the physical skills quicker.
Mhm.
And I appreciate you, David, for appreciating me and my optimism. So you
It
appreciate
is, man.
us. We appreciate you for appreciating us. It's a
Yep.
lot of appreciation going around for these 8 lovely, beautiful, great people that are watching this live right now, and the 2 people especially that have liked the live. Because guess what? All it takes is a little click right there. It's a thumbs up. Simple, easy as that. Look, I'll double thumbs up. That's how easy it is, you guys. Um, But yeah, we
Yep.
are gonna kind of start wrapping it up here on the live.
All
We're
right.
thinking about an hour long. We have gone 45 minutes of us ranting
Ranting.
about nothing. But
We went
hopefully
deep.
there's
We
been
went
some
deep on a few
positive.
points.
Yeah, yeah, no. Hopefully there's been some positive things.
Yeah.
Some things that people have gained, and even if it's just a gain of getting your mind moving a little bit, just thinking a little bit differently.
Mhm.
Whether or not we change your opinion or help you get more motivated, it's not necessarily the goal. Like we said earlier, the goal was just for us.
Mhm.
This live is for me and Shaheen.
Yeah, we wanted
If
to test it out. This has been a
if
great
if
test.
people are able to gain or get something out of Shaheen and I investing in ourselves, well, hey, that's just a double win.
Mhm.
But what do you think, Shaheen, you've learned most through creating content, being a content creator, especially as you're starting to grow and create different content on different platforms,
Mhm.
and you've been creating content on YouTube for a decent amount of time now.
Yeah,
Has
it's
there been similarities
years.
in which you've been able to take things that you've learned from here and apply them to Instagram, apply them to TikTok.
Yeah.
Just give me a rundown on that.
So what I've learned from YouTube is authenticity. Number one is so important. You got to be authentic. You got to be willing to be vulnerable. My videos that really popped off were literally videos where I was just telling a story about my past, sharing
Uh,
with friends. It's like it doesn't get more authentic and vulnerable than that. So yeah, that's something that's a recent revelation I've had is like authenticity is one of the critical components to being a successful content creator. Another one is enthusiasm. You got to
mm,
make content around things that you're enthusiastic about because people can kind of sniff out if you're not enthusiastic about something. And when I started kind of getting a few of my videos popped off, like I don't know, 2 3 years ago, started getting like thousands of views on. I went from like having like I don't know 30 views, 40 views on my videos to getting a couple videos that popped off and got like 10,000 views and things like that. Um, then I kind of started doing something where I was like, okay, I'm gonna reiterate on the content, the keywords that people are engaging with the most, right? Like what keywords and what do people want to hear more about? But there were cases where like I'd answer questions and make videos about things where I like wasn't necessarily that enthusiastic about it, and I was trying to position myself as sort of like a master at that thing or that topic when like really I didn't know that much about it either. So I think you have to find this balance of like authenticity, enthusiasm, and also like what do people want to hear about. Like you gotta find that sort of happy middle ground.
it's a
So that's
constant balance of you trying to which which part of the pie do I put the most kind of effort into? Whereas what
yeah.
you were just saying is you felt like you were maybe putting too much effort into trying to make what you thought people liked.
Hmm.
Whereas what people actually liked was the authenticity of things you were actually enthusiastic about. It was
Hmm.
the other two pieces of the pie
Hmm.
in which you thought the other piece was what they were after.
Mhm.
But it just so happened that that other piece they liked because of the two other pieces. So when you're trying to do that one other piece, if you're not enthusiastic and it's not authentic, then they don't want that piece as much. That's what I just
Exactly.
learned from that.
That's basically what it is, and that's what I've been learning. I think the
That's
other
great
thing that
advice for any content creator. Great advice Shaheen
yeah,
just said right there.
and now the other thing is like, what did he say? Shaheen using NLP in his content is fantastic, makes sense. Don't hunt the audience, let the ones who enjoy the show stay. Yes,
Ooh,
David.
David's dropping some gems today. Dropping
David
some
is
gems.
summarizing these points very well. Appreciate you, David.
Yeah, thank you.
And the other the other thing that I've learned is like it's a volume game too. Like the reason why it's a volume game again is it just goes back to experimentation. So like I'm now making more videos on short form platforms. Like you said, I'm kind of branching out from from YouTube, going to TikTok, going to Instagram. That's a different game, right? Every platform's different. So yeah, it's just been a process. Like the only way you're gonna learn is just by posting. So I've kind of just committed to posting every day. Like even if I don't feel like it, I'm just gonna post something. And my thing now is just like I'm gonna post things that I would watch myself. So like if it showed up
Mm,
in my feed, I'd be like, oh, this is cool. Like this is motivational or this is inspiring. And that's pretty much my main rule of thumb that I'm following at this point. I'm not really chasing trends. I don't really care about that. It's more about just posting high volume and posting things that I would watch myself.
love it. That's great
And
advice. Yeah. The volume thing I can't, agree more on. I
mhm,
did just recently hit 5,000 subscribers on this golf YouTube channel, which, is a decent achievement, something that I've put a lot
yeah,
of work and effort into. And
that's big.
my kind of math, uh, you know, um, theory that I've figured out is every video I post essentially equals one subscriber. So one video equals another, subscriber.
Mm,
It's a co-symbiotic relationship. So the
mhm,
reason I have 5,000 followers is because I've posted 5,000 videos, which some people think, is insane and maybe too much and whatever it may be, but to me, that seemed like the easiest way and the best way for me to gain what I was looking for, which is to
mhm.
try and get the most subscribers as possible and to create content I enjoy making and to create content people enjoy watching. But
Yeah,
I couldn't agree with you more about just creating stuff you enjoy creating.
yeah,
Um, and for me, it's just going into the driving range and hitting golf balls. Obviously, there's other things I'd want to do and will continue to do, and new things I'll start doing too. But I always think, when you can find a bread and butter, when you introduce a steak, right?
mm,
A video that stands out, it stands out even more after you've put so much bread and butter out there. People get
right,
tired of eating bread and butter.
yeah,
Okay. But if you've only ever given them steak, they get greedy, right? Then you give them bread and butter, and they're like, "What is this?" Right?
right,
So that's something I've definitely learned where you need both. You need it all. You need a full
mhm,
course meal. You can't just be feeding one thing and expect everyone to be super happy, right?
right.
You gotta take risk in different areas, and that applies to life too, you know? And golf, everything,
I will
but
say
yeah.
something about the volume thing too. It's like the more that what I've found is like the more that I post, the more that I begin to understand what my brand is becoming and growing
Mm,
into. Where if I wasn't posting, then I would just be sitting around in my room trying to like brainstorm and try to think out what my brand is.
From
And
things you've already done in the past and things you're not doing currently or planning or like actively doing basically. What you're
right.
actively doing is showing what you're continuing wanting to do in the future. Whereas
Mhm.
if you just sit back and look at the past, you're only learning from things that have already happened. Whereas you're not
Exactly.
necessarily living in that moment learning from the now.
Mhm. Exactly. I think creating is what pushes things forward. So creating and sharing, creating and sharing. That's how you build your brand. That's how you build your catalog. That's how you share yourself with the world. That's how you learn more about yourself. You have to put it out there. If for anyone, it's just for you to look back at everything you've created and been like, okay, I'm starting to see what I'm about. I'm starting to see what my brand is. But you keep moving forward and keep trudging along because, like we said before, there is no end. There is no end. It's just a constant process of learning about yourself.
Constant grind. Shout out to David. Appreciate you. Honestly, a super dope name that would kind of um fit both of like kind of what we're kind of going after because it hits that golf and it also hits that motivation, that mindset area, being
Yeah.
driven, right, and it hits that golf like
Oh, dang, that's David.
driven.
Man, David coming up with the bangers.
Yeah,
I
dude.
love it. Driven. I
um
just got it. I was like, what's going on?
and I
Dang.
appreciate you saying that. This is one of the most. This is what David said. If anyone hasn't read the comment, he said, "This is the most reasoned, intelligent conversation I have ever seen on YouTube. You should do a pod together." Suggested title: Driven. Love it.
I love
You
it.
know,
I
I've
love
done a
that.
podcast in the past. I'm not opposed to doing one again. I do think though that I'm more focused on growing this channel more than anything. So if we did do it, I would only want to do it, post it on this channel, either go live like we're doing now or pre-record it and post it on the channel. I wouldn't necessarily be that interested in putting it on Spotify or
Right. Yeah.
anything like that, just because I would solely want to drive more views to the channel. But that's a great idea, and especially if we kind of, you know, brainstormed a little bit more on top of that, and basically thought about some specific topics. Whereas today, okay, GMO just leaving another joke. You gotta love it. But I think that today we really did. There was zero prep for this conversation. At least I didn't prep any. I don't know
I
if
didn't
Shaheen
put
did.
anything
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
No.
We didn't prep anything at all. We're just two like-minded individuals that are trying to better themselves,
Yes.
and better our channels. These are something. These things, they're. It's almost like a living thing. It's like a kid that you want to take care of and grow up to be this great person, right? Or just
Yeah.
like this this plant that you've been like watering and it's been growing, right? And you're slowly seeing the petals bloom and right, but we want it to bear fruit, right? In a
Yeah.
way, which is money, and not everything boils down to that, but if you're able to, you know, grow yourself through growing this channel as well as growing your bank account, right?
Yeah.
There's multiple reasons as to why investing in your content and your channel could be beneficial for us, and that's something that I didn't even necessarily think of when I first started this. I think the reasons kind of like had mentioned early on, like they've evolved, and the real meaning has stuck, which is I like golf, and if doing this helps me get out there more and motivates me to continue to want to get better, then I see no wrong in continually investing into it, because it will only in turn invest back into me, and
Mm.
the same is true for your channel. So continue being great, Shaheen.
Yes.
Um, I just want to hit this 1 hour mark, and then we can kind of wrap it up and
Yeah, I'll
say
just
our
say,
goodbyes to David and,
yeah, man.
appreciate the 2 likes in the live. But, you know, we did make it right now to 1 hour. So appreciate, everyone who's kind of stuck around for a little bit. Really big shout out to David.
Shout out
You
to
have some
David,
great
man. You're
ideas,
MVP.
some great insight. Uh, but like I said, again, appreciate everyone. Shaheen, you want to close us out?
Yes, I just want to say thanks for coming up with this idea to do a live. I didn't even know YouTube Live was a thing. I mean,
You
I
knew
knew it
YouTube
was a
Live was
thing,
a
but
thing, not the duel, not the
yeah,
duel
I didn't
thing.
know the dual thing. I didn't know this was possible. So, like, going off of David's suggestion of making a podcast, maybe we can start with doing a regular YouTube Live where we check in with each other once a week, every
And
other
guess
week.
what? It might evolve,
It
right?
might evolve.
It
Exactly.
most
Let's start
likely
here.
will. We're
Exactly.
here. We're
So
grinding.
shout out to everyone who came through. Shout out to David, MVP of this live chat for sure. And yeah, super positive things. I hope people got something out of it, if anything. So, dude, let's do this again. Definitely real
Yes,
soon. I don't know. We can make this like a regular thing where we just check in on our mindsets and just have
yes.
conversations and invite
Things
people in.
we've learned during the week. It doesn't even have to be an hour long. I think that was just one goal we had kind of set before, and maybe it's 30 minutes, maybe it's 20 minutes.
Hmm.
Could even be as simple as 10. You get 5 minutes, I get 5 minutes. We, just talk about things that we learned recently, or maybe
Hmm.
things we re-evaluated from the past. But I only see greatness coming from this, Shaheen.
Me too. I see a lot of greatness coming from this.
I
So,
see greatness in you. I see greatness in every single person watching this video right now. We love you. We hope everyone has a great rest of their day or night, depending on what time zone you're in. Because it
yeah,
is 8:20 where I'm at, and it is 5:20 where Shaheen is at.
I'm gonna
So
go head to a comedy show right now. So, everybody,
there you go.
enjoy your weekend. Peace out.
Peace.
Much love.
Thank you guys.